Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 9 Part 69 based on novel. So let's start. Demonic chi that seemed to cover the land and sky swiftly receded at a shocking speed at this moment. King Jinming's frozen body was located at the middle of the demonic chi. He blankly stared at the bloody hole in his chest. The edges of the bloody hole had been contaminated by the mysterious jade-like liquid. This jade liquid was akin to a fatal poison that was frantically eroding his body. The seemingly vast and endless Yimo chi within his body rapidly disappeared like snow wherever the jade liquid passed. King Jinming could clearly sense his extremely powerful life force disappear while the Yimo chi had vanished. The feeling of death quietly rose within his heart, causing a terrified expression to appear on his face. A miserable howl was emitted from King Jinming's mouth. Although he had fallen into a dire situation, he was still a peak expert comparable to the reincarnation stage. His hand slammed onto his body at lightning-like speed and purplish gold symbols began to appear under his skin. Waves of incomparably pure Yimo chi crazily gathered towards the bloody hole on his chest in an attempt to stop the eroding jade liquid. Clouds of white smoke emerged from the areas where these two forces clashed while pain filled King Jinming's face. The seemingly gentle jade liquid seemed to possess an extremely terrifying destructive power. Even with his king-rank Yimo strength, he was unable to stop the erosion of the jade liquid. It is useless, King Jinming. The king-destroying heavenly plate is a true poison to you, Yimo. It will erode your body until nothing remains. Qingji looked at King Jinming, who was resisting with all his strength, and spoke in an indifferent voice. Qingji, it is too early for you to be happy. King Jinming roared. His face was exceptionally distorted while his eyes were filled with an endless brutality. In a split second, he clenched his teeth and changed his hand seals. One could only watch as densely packed purple gold demonic symbols abruptly surfaced on his body as an extremely wild and fierce fluctuation spread. When Qingji, Luomo, and the others saw this, their expression slightly altered and their bodies rapidly pulled back. Bang! King Jinming's body suddenly exploded as Qingji's group hurriedly pulled back. Terrifying demonic chi directly turned into 100,000 feet large giant wave that maniacally swept outwards. Space itself crumbled wherever this demonic wave passed. This King Jinming had actually self-destructed. The 100,000 feet green-colored light plate that covered the sky also shook at this moment. Soon after, a light pillar shot towards the sky and blocked the monstrous demonic wave. Black chi suddenly gathered at the spot where King Jinming had self-destructed while the demonic wave spread. It turned into a black heart which was covered with purple gold light patterns. This heart began to flee the moment it appeared. King Jinming, I have fought countless times against you, Yimo. Such means cannot fool me. Qingji's clear laughter suddenly echoed while the heart attempted to flee amongst the chaos. Space distorted and a green figure appeared in front of the heart from nowhere. Qingji, you are really bold. Aren't you afraid that my tribe will cause you to never rise again? The black heart covered with purple gold light symbols beat rapidly. King Jinming's face appeared on the heart as he cried out in a threatening voice. You will truly die once I kill this devil fetus of yours, right? Qingji smiled faintly. His handsome face was without any fear. His finger jabbed forward as green light symbols appeared in the air and a light ray suddenly shot forth. You! King Jinming roared furiously when he saw that Qingji was not going to show any mercy. He hurriedly used his demonic chi and formed a light shield outside his heart. Now that he had lost his physical body, he was akin to a human expert who was left with only his Yuan spirit. His strength had greatly diminished. Boom! The light shield did not put up much resistance and burst apart. The green light beam heavily smashed onto the devil fetus as an incomparably mournful screech was emitted. It was obvious that King Jinming had received an extremely serious injury. Qingji's eye remained impassive and he took another step forward as green light swept out from within his body. 1,000 green dragon light tattoos flew out and turned into a 10,000 feet large green dragon claw. Bang! The space in front of him collapsed. The 10,000 feet dragon claw was akin to the shadow of death as it enveloped the devil fetus. Bastard! King Qianming cursed furiously from the devil fetus as thick demonic chi hurriedly surged out and the space behind it swiftly became distorted. The spatial tunnel had barely formed when the green dragon claw containing destructive energy penetrated through the space and arrived. Save me! King Qianming was horrified as he looked at the green dragon claw, which seemed to be accompanied by the shadow of death, and finally cried out in a screeching voice. An invisible ripple invaded space itself from within the screech. Bang! King Qianming's cry had just sounded when the massive space behind him suddenly crumbled and 100,000 feet black vortex appeared from nowhere. Two giant devil hands suddenly reached out from the vortex. After which, they clashed head-on against the green dragon claw. Boom boom! A frightening shock wave swept out from within the point of contact, shaking space itself until it completely shattered. There are still reinforcements here. Qing Shi's eyes were a little cold. He gently stomped with his feet and another thousands of green dragon-like tattoos flew out from within his body. They added themselves to the green dragon claw, causing the two huge devil hands to be continuously pushed back. Mo Luo! Qing Shi suddenly cried out while he was dealing with the huge devil hands that had broken through space itself. Mo Luo immediately nodded upon hearing this as murderous intent surged within his eyes. His body flashed as it tore through the space itself and directly appeared in front of the devil fetus that was fleeing backwards. You dare! A furious cry suddenly sounded from within the black vortex when Mo Luo chased the devil fetus. A huge devil hand turned around in an attempt to attack him. You will obediently stay here? Qing Shi cried out coldly. The green dragon claw shot forward and prevented the two huge devil hands from moving. Mo Luo's eyes became maliciously cold. He clenched his hand and a fire spear appeared within it. Flames burst forth from the tip of the spear, turning into a fire spiral as the spear mercilessly thrust forward. Bang! Space exploded as the fire spear was thrust forward while accompanied by a brilliant tail of flames. In the end, a horrified screech was continuously emitted from within the devil fetus as it was struck. The fire spear pierced straight through the devil fetus and purplish gold blood endlessly flowed out. King Qianming's extremely sharp screech reverberated across the sky, causing one's hair to stand on ends. Bang! The devil fetus suddenly swelled when the screech reached its peak. Soon after, it burst apart. Purple gold blood splashed and space emitted a sizzling sound wherever the blood landed. A furious roar emerged from deep within the black vortex and the huge devil hands quickly retracted. They swiftly grabbed the purple gold blood that had scattered and rapidly retreated back into the black vortex. Qing Shi, Mo Luo, you dare kill our tribe's king rank Yimo. Devil prison will not let you off. Just wait, just you wait. While the huge devil hands withdrew, a furious roar that was filled with murderous intent echoed from the black vortex like a wild beast's howl and rumbled across the land. The black vortex swiftly faded. Finally, the roar also completely disappeared from the land along with it. Following this, the evil demonic chi that enveloped the area disappeared like floodwaters. Qing Shi's eyes slightly focused as he looked at the spot where the black vortex had disappeared. He spoke in a faint voice, another Yimo king they are really troublesome creatures. It seems that he had intervened across space. The long fire spear in Mo Luo's hand disappeared. The huge devil hand earlier was clearly that of another Yimo king. However, he was evidently located in a far-away place. Hence, the power that had broken through space and descended clearly had difficulty stopping Qing Shi. Hall Chief, is King Qianming dead? Elder Kai Yun asked somewhat anxiously. They had invested such a great amount of effort. It would be truly a pity if King Qianming survived. Yimo have an extremely strong life force. However, that earlier attack gave him a fatal injury. Although that Yimo king managed to rescue some essence blood, it will be extremely difficult to revive him. Even if he manages to be revived, his strength will greatly diminish. There is no need to be afraid. Mo Luo spoke in a faint voice. Elder Kai Yun sighed in relief upon hearing this. Qing Shi waved his sleeve. The 100,000 feet large green light plate that covered the sky slowly dissipated as the green jade plate returned to his hand. However, the Yimo King plate had become unusually dim. It seemed that the energy inside had been completely exhausted. Looks like it will not be possible to use this king-destroying heavenly plate for quite some time. Mulan looked at the dimmed king-destroying heavenly plate and said, "It is worthwhile since we finished off an Yimo King." Qingji laughed. "What is this devil prison that was mentioned earlier?" Mo Luo looked towards Qingji and asked. Qingji's eyes hardened. Soon after, he exhaled deeply and replied, "It should be a secret organization formed by those Yimo in hiding. This King Qianming and the Yimo King who had tried to rescue him earlier are likely members of this organization." Mo Luo's eyes were a little dim. It was extremely difficult to deal with a mere Yimo King and 3 great Yimo generals. Just how terrifyingly powerful was this so-called devil prison? Was it this giant hand in the shadows that had been quietly eliminating the peak experts of the human race in the past tens of thousands of years? It seems that we should also make our move. Those old monsters who are still alive should also stretch their old bodies. Qingji spoke softly. He quickly laughed as he lifted his head to look at the sky. Warm sunlight had once again scattered down from it. However, at least this battle was our victory. On the ground, Lin Dong looked at the surroundings, which was once again filled with sunlight. The demonic qi in the sky had already vanished. As he gazed at the few figures in the distant sky, a smile that indicated that one had been relieved of a great burden surfaced on his face. "Have we won?" Tang Xinlian by the side lifted her pretty face. She deeply inhaled a breath of air and muttered, "Yeah, we have won." Lin Dong smiled and used a voice that only he could hear as he softly muttered, "However, this is only the beginning." Sunlight poured down from the sky and shone on the fiery flame city, which was almost reduced into ruins. Only this place proved that an earth-shaking big battle had occurred previously. Countless experts outside of the city were staring at the Flame Divine Hall's disciples who were seated in various parts of fiery flame city while recuperating. Subsequently, they looked at the Titan patrols by the Flame Divine Hall's experts in the sky. All of them were quietly shocked. They were aware that once news of this incident spread, it would definitely cause a monstrous uproar in the chaotic Demon Sea. There were only 4 invaders in the previous battle. However, the 4 of them managed to flip the Flame Divine Hall upside down. Although they were unable to observe the highest level battle because of the hindrance posed by the green light plate, it was likely one that could destroy the world. After all, it was hard to spot a battle at that level, even in the entire chaotic Demon Sea. However, what really puzzled the crowds were the origin of those 4 mysterious individuals. That lineup was something that hardly any top factions in the chaotic Demon Sea could afford. Many private conversations spread outside of Fiery Flame City. The crowds of humans scattered across the mountains offered quite a spectacular sight when looking from afar. Some of their eyes were gleaming. Currently, the Flame Divine Hall was in a weakened state and they might be able to take advantage of this chaos. "Everyone, my Flame Divine Hall has ran into some problems today. The Fiery Flame City has been destroyed and it is problematic for us to host any guests. Hence, I hope that everyone will leave the Fiery Flame City for now. If anyone tries to create trouble, my Flame Divine Hall will not hesitate to fight." A beautiful figure rushed towards the sky just as the area outside Fiery Flame City gradually became a little chaotic. A clear, lovely voice quickly spread across the sky. The person who spoke was naturally Tang Xinlian. There was a huge army following behind her. After having rested before, some of the disciples of the Flame Divine Hall have already recovered. Tang Xinlian shone as brilliantly as a pearl in the previous fight, and even some of the renowned older experts in the chaotic Demon Sea were stunned. Now that they saw her again, even though she was beautiful and gorgeous, her aura caused one's breathing to turn sluggish. The commotion outside of the city gradually calmed down. This was especially after they saw the sharp eyes of the disciple from the Flame Divine Hall being shot over. Some of those fellows with other undesirable intents hurriedly turned away. "This lass is truly incredible." When some of the renowned older experts saw that Tang Xinlian was able to suppress the commotion outside of the city with her words alone, they were secretly stunned. From today onwards, it was likely that no one amongst the younger generation of the chaotic demon sea would be able to compete with Tang Xinlian. Hovering in midair in the city, Tang Xinlian tilted her head and issued some orders. Subsequently, she dispatched the disciples of the Flame Divine Hall in groups before landing from midair. The Flame Fairy of the Flame Divine Hall truly lives up to her reputation. However, if you are so powerful, who will dare to marry you in the future? Lin Dong watched Tang Xinlian land on the ground and involuntarily teased. Even he was secretly praising the bold demeanor displayed by Tang Xinlian previously when she was suppressing the crowd. However, Lin Dong's eyes suddenly flashed the moment his words sounded. A sharp wind appeared in front of him and it was possible to see a sharp spear pausing half an inch in front of him. A cold ray of light escaped from the tip of the spear. Lin Dong immediately stopped speaking. Spreading his hand, he looked at a tense Tang Xinlian, who was holding onto her fire phoenix spear. With a dry smile, he coughed bitterly and said, "All right, I will stop speaking." Tang Xinlian's hands were trembling gently. Promptly, the fire phoenix spear in her hand was withdrawn. She walked towards Lin Dong while her pretty eyes continuously stared at him. A smile suddenly appeared on her pretty face just as Lin Dong was feeling a little uncomfortable. She said, "I am not as strong as you. Moreover, with your talents, I will likely remain behind you forever." Lin Dong was startled before he promptly started to laugh. His eyes, which were lingering on her pretty face, shifted away somewhat in guilt as he hurriedly said, "I will go and take a look at that sealed Yimo general." Lin Dong hurriedly turned around and left upon saying this. However, Tang Xinlian was able to spot a trace of panic in his eyes. Tang Xinlian stared at Lin Dong's back as he fled miserably. Her hand pushed aside a strand of hair, which had fell downwards. She curled her red lips before an enchanting smile appeared her face. It caused the surrounding Flame Divine Hall's disciples walking by to be stunned when they saw her. In the middle of the city's ruins, stood a light pillar. The Yimo general trapped within the light pillar was also no longer as arrogant as before. This was because Qing Shi and Mo Luo were staring at him indifferently from the outside. His eyes appeared like those of a lamb that was about to be slaughtered. "Elder Qing Shi, Elder Mo Luo." Lin Dong approached them, cupped his hands together and greeted these two esteemed individuals. "Ha ha, little fellow, it has been a long while since we last met." Qing Shi turned around. He looked at Lin Dong and spoke gently. "Thank you for saving me previously, Elder Qing Shi." Lin Dong rubbed his head and said. He greatly respected Qing Shi. After all, not only did the latter impart his green heaven materialized dragon skill to him, he even rescued him and his two brothers from a vast distance away when they were in a desperate situation back in Unique Devil City. This debt of gratitude was something that Lin Dong always kept in mind. "The reason why our plan succeeded is all thanks to you." Qing Shi laughed. "The reason why this Yimo general is sealed is indeed because of your powers." Mo Luo nodded and said, "If it was not because Miss Tang Xinlian was in control of the situation, I would not have been able to handle even a single attack from this Yimo general." Lin Dong shook his head. He did not wish for the credit to be attributed to him. "That's right, that king rank Yimo." Lin Dong hesitated for a moment before asking. As Qing Shi intentionally hid the battle in the sky, even he did not know about the intense fight that took place at that place. "You can consider him dead." Lin Dong finally sighed in relief after hearing this. It seemed like all their efforts did not go to waste. Although we did not manage to seal the Yimo king, we should still be able to obtain some information regarding the demon prison from this fellow here. Qing Shi pointed towards General Lang Mo that was sealed within the light pillar and said, "Demon prison?" Lin Dong was startled. Qing Shi and Mo Luo exchanged glances. Only then did the former explain, a mysterious organization formed by the Yimo. "We do not know how terrifyingly they are. However, they are the greatest hidden threat to the world." Lin Dong nodded quietly. As of now, it was likely that he was not qualified to mess with that terrifying organization. Hence, there was little he could do to help. "You did not expose the ancestral symbols this time around. After this, I will spread news that the Thunderbolt ancestral symbol in the competition was a fake." This will allow you to avoid some trouble. Standing beside them, Mo Luo remarked. Thank you, Elder Mo Luo. Lin Dong laughed. What are you planning to do next? Qingji glanced at Lin Dong and asked. Lin Dong thought for a moment before replying, I want to look for my two brothers. Those three old fellows from Yuan Gate interrupted our teleportation when we fled the Eastern Xian region. Hence, all of us were separated and I do not know how they are doing now. Lin Dong had only two objectives after arriving at the Chaotic Demon Sea. The first was to boost his strength, so that he can become powerful enough to charge into Yuan Gate after he returned to Eastern Xian region. The second one was naturally to find Little Martin and Little Flame. Those three old fellows have truly gone overboard. If I have the time, I will follow you back to the Eastern Xian region in the future. Qingji spoke in a faint voice. Back then, the three great heads of the Yuan clan did not show any mercy even after he showed up. This caused him to be a little furious. I have also heard about what happened to you. Since you have helped my Flame Divine Hall, if you need help in the future, you can ask Xinlian to lead our troops and return to the Eastern Xian region together with you to flatten the Yuan Gate. Mo Luo waved his hand. His tone was quite domineering. Lin Dong was a little moved. He immediately nodded and said, if I need your help in the future, I will not hesitate to ask. However, I believe that us, three brothers will definitely be able to kill those three old fellows when we return to the Eastern Xian region. Ha, you are bold. I like that about you. Mo Luo laughed loudly upon hearing this. His tone was full of admiration. Standing beside them, Qingji also smiled and nodded. He said, I have some clues about the whereabouts of your two brothers. I briefly sensed their locations during the teleportation back then. Oh. Lin Dong rejoiced upon hearing those words. He had been looking for Little Martin and Little Flame for over a year, but was unable to learn any news about them. The two of them have most likely been teleported to the demon region. However, there is no need to worry. One of your two friends belongs to the Celestial Demon Martin tribe, which is a powerful faction in the demonic beast world. Moreover, they are overbearing and fierce and they do not even fear the dragon tribe. Therefore, there will hardly be anyone who will dare to find trouble with him if he returns to the demon region. The other friend of yours possessed the bloodline of the Devil Tiger tribe and he is also quite formidable. Qingji laughed, it is likely that they are having a better time than you. Lin Dong quietly sighed in relief. The Celestial Demon Martin's tribe ranking is quite high in the demonic beast world. If Little Martin returned there, he should be able to recover very quickly. From the conversations he had with the latter in the past, Lin Dong could sense that Little Martin was definitely no ordinary tribe member. Hence, if Little Flame was to follow Little Martin, the latter would definitely not allow the former to suffer, given his character. However, he wondered how the two of them were doing now. Lin Dong curled his mouth while some anxiety surged within his heart. He really wanted to see his two brothers, who had gone through life and death situations with him as they walked out from that tiny Great Yang Empire together. Do you plan to look for them? Qingji smilingly asked. Lin Dong nodded and replied, I have nothing to do here. Once I rest for a while, I will start heading towards the demon region. After which, we will charge back to the Eastern Xian region together once I find them. The three of them had been chased out together. Naturally, they will charge back together. Qingji did not say anything else after he saw that Lin Dong had made up his mind. He said, at that time, both Mo Luo and I will teleport you to the demon region. Thank you very much, elders. Lin Dong rejoiced. In that case, it would save him a great amount of time. After all, there was still an extremely wide distance between the Chaotic Demon Sea and the demon region. Qingji smiled and waved his hand. After which, he chatted with Lin Dong again for a while. Only after that, did Lin Dong cup his hands together and leave. What a restless little fellow. He has flipped the Chaotic Demon Sea upside down. Now, he is heading to the demon region. Mo Luo looked at Lin Dong's figure as the latter left. He involuntarily laughed. Qingji smiled and nodded. It seems like you hold him in high regard? You are the one who asked me to give him the Thunderbolt ancestral symbol back then. You should know that if the Thunderbolt ancestral symbol was given to another expert with strength similar to mine, it would be a powerful fighting force for us. Mo Luo narrowed his eyes before he suddenly said, "We will have one less ancestral symbol owner each time Lin Dong gains an additional ancestral symbol." Qing Ji laughed. He lifted his head, looked at the azure sky and muttered, "The reason why humans emerged victorious during the great calamity in the ancient times was because of the symbol ancestor. Now, we no longer have one. If calamity descends in this world again, what should we do?" Mo Luo shrunk his eyes slightly. "Do you think that Lin Dong can become the next symbol ancestor?" Qing Ji placed his hands behind him. He softly said, "He possessed the ancestor stone. That means that he was chosen by the symbol ancestor. Right now, there are two people in this world with the highest possibility of reaching the level of the symbol ancestor. 2. The reincarnated Ice Master, and Lin Dong. It doesn't matter who eventually reaches that level. In order for us humans to win, we need a second symbol ancestor." Following the end of the great battle, peace gradually returned to the Flame Divine Hall gradually in the subsequent few days. Due to the need to rebuild the city, the entire place appeared to be extremely lively. Countless Flame Divine Hall disciples shuttled through the city, a majestic scene that was extremely spectacular. Lin Dong chose to temporarily stay in Fiery Flame City while it was being rebuilt. Although he anxiously wished to meet Little Martin and Little Flame, as the saying goes, cutting wood with a dull axe is a waste of effort, thus essential rest could not be neglected. Lin Dong quietly sat on a stone platform in the middle of the city near a majestic mountain. He was coincidentally able to overlook the entire Fiery Flame City from here. The vitality that filled the city caused him to involuntarily stretch his waist. He could feel that his bones had become rather limp and numb after these few days of extremely relaxed rest. The current him was considered a VIP of the Flame Divine Hall, hence they treated him extremely well. However, because the Flame Divine Hall was too busy, no one could accompany a VIP like him for the past few days. Forget about Mo Luo, even Tang Xinlian only hurriedly ensured that he was still alive before swiftly leaving in a hectic manner. Truth be told, Tang Xinlian was clearly managing even more of the Flame Divine Hall matters than Mo Luo. However, this girl did indeed possess such capability. "Even my bones have turned soft." Lin Dong twisted his neck and heaved a long sigh. Soon after, his brows suddenly raised as he turned around and saw a red light flashing for a moment in the distance, before a pretty figure appeared in front of him. "Have you rested well these few days?" Tang Xinlian's hand pushed aside the red hair at the side of her face, before she smilingly looked at the idle Lin Dong and asked. "You have finally recalled that I am still here," Lin Dong spoke in an unhappy manner. He was under the impression that these people had forgotten about him. Due to the earlier events, Fiery Flame City was completely destroyed. It is extremely troublesome to rebuild. Moreover, after this loss, our Flame Divine Hall's defensive strength has also been exposed. There is a need to properly reorganize. Tang Xinlian explained. She quickly saw Lin Dong slightly curl the corner of his mouth and laughed softly. "All right, I will apologize for neglecting you for the last few days. Don't you have the few beauties of the GU clan? I was under the impression that you were having quite a comfortable time. They have their own clan matters. How can they stay for long? Moreover, these words of yours are rather ambiguous. I am only friends with them," Lin Dong helplessly said. The smile on Tang Xinlian's pretty face became even more enchanting when she heard this. However, Lin Dong was not overly bothered by this. He lifted his head and asked, "Is there a reason you have come looking for me?" "Yes." Tang Xinlian nodded. Her pretty eyes looked at Lin Dong as she frowned and said, "You broke into the profound death stage during the previous big battle. Normally, one must stabilize one's level after a breakthrough. Although it is possible to fight, that bitter battle of yours back then was far too intense. Teacher has said that this will definitely leave behind some negative after effects." Lin Dong's eyes slightly narrowed as he silently nodded. His condition was gradually recovering over the past few days. However, despite him having stepped into the profound death stage, he sensed that the yuan power in his body was rather superficial. This was a sign that his cultivation was unstable. If any mishap were to occur, it would be extremely easy for him to regress to the profound life stage. I can only take things slowly, Lin Dong said. It was quite important to stabilize one's cultivation level after a breakthrough. If one misses this important step, it would be troublesome to make up for it in the future. You will be heading to the demon region soon. It is not a friendly place. Moreover, it is the world of the demonic beasts and humans are discriminated against there. You will likely suffer if you head to that place in this condition. Tang Xinlian knitted her brows. Clearly, she was feeling extremely dissatisfied with Lin Dong's response. Do you have any solutions? Lin Dong asked helplessly. Tang Xinlian wrapped her slender arms in front of her chest upon hearing this. She smilingly watched Lin Dong and teased, do you wish to know? Lin Dong looked at this appearance of Tang Xinlian's which suggested that he needed to beg her to learn about it and could not help but find it a little comical. To think that this usually sensible and serious commander of the Flame Divine Hall army would actually show such girlish behavior. It might be better if I ask Elder Mo Luo then. However, Lin Dong did not play into Tang Xinlian's hand. He slowly stood up and walked towards the Flame Divine Hall. When Tang Xinlian saw this response from Lin Dong, she bit her red lips. Her bright eyes appeared a little resentful and she violently stamped her feet, before catching up to him. Have you heard of the Death Flame Spirit Pool? Lin Dong's footsteps paused. He had some impression of this name. It seemed to be a precious pool that belonged to the Flame Divine Hall. It was rumored that the Death Flame Pool possessed an extremely pure death chi which was not man-made. Instead, this death chi was extracted from deep underground and was extremely rare. Furthermore, it was greatly beneficial to profound death stage experts. Based on what I know, it seems that the Death Flame Pool of the Flame Divine Hall is opened only once a year, right? Moreover, only members who have greatly contributed to the sect will get to enjoy it, Lin Dong said with some hesitation. You can join our Flame Divine Hall. In any case, you are alone. Tang Xinlian's bewitching eyes stared at Lin Dong. The anticipation in her eyes was not hidden. I have heard teacher mention that you seem to have a great grudge with that Yuan Gate in the Eastern Xian region, right? As long as you become a member of the Flame Divine Hall, I will lead an army to flatten the Yuan Gate when you return to the Eastern Xian region. Lin Dong's body slowly stopped. He lifted his head while wearing a complicated expression and softly said, I'm sorry. I do not wish to join another sect. Although the way he had left the Eastern Xian region was extremely miserable, he had ultimately come from that place. The super sects that were akin to Titans back then were no longer as mysterious and intimidating in his eyes. However, his many abilities had been learnt from the sect called Dao sect. Ying Xuanzi might have chosen not to avoid the fight in Unique Devil region because he needed to look at the bigger picture. Lin Dong also understood that the Dao sect was not as strong as the Flame Divine Hall. Ying Xuanzi was not like Mo Luo, who was a Samsara stage ancestral symbol owner. He did not possess the means to resist the three great heads of the Yuan Gate. A forced battle would only cause the Dao sect to pay a bloody price. Ultimately, Lin Dong chose to withdraw from the Dao sect. However, he understood that it was impossible to simply break the connection between them. He understood this when he saw the young lady abandon her pride and beg for sake back then in Unique Devil City. Lin Dong let out a deep breath as he suppressed the memories churning in his head. After which, he turned his head to look at Tang Xinlian by the side and shrugged his shoulders in an apologetic manner. No need to take my words too seriously. Relax, regardless of whether you are a member of the Flame Divine Hall, Master has said that he will help you. Tang Xinlian smiled and nodded. Soon after, she increased her pace. Quick, Master and the rest are waiting for us. Lin Dong looked at the alluring figure in front of him. He could only sigh softly in his heart as he followed. The security of the current Flame Divine Hall was clearly a lot tighter than before. Densely packed patrols crossed each other while many sharp senses scanned the area. Even a housefly would not be able to invade. With Tang Xinlian leading him, Lin Dong met no obstruction as he followed her and smoothly passed through the many layers of security. Finally, he reached the deepest part of the flame divine hall. The first thing that appeared in Lin Dong's sight when the huge doors of the hall were pushed open was a black waterfall. This waterfall was extremely unique and there was an endless abyss behind it. No one knew where it led to. The waterfall flowed backwards and black water surged out from the deep abyss with crashing sounds. After which, the black water from the top of the waterfall and finally landed in a huge black pool below. The most bizarre thing was that this huge waterfall did not cause any ripples to form on the surface of the black pool. The entire pool was stagnant and strangely quiet. Two figures stood at the edge of the black pool. They were Mo Luo and Qing Shi. "You're here." Mo Luo smiled when the two individuals walked in as he turned to look at the two of them and said. Lin Dong approached the black pool. Only then did he discover that there were black flames rising from its surface. A frighteningly pure death chi ripple turned into a black vapor as it curled and rose into the air. This is the death flame spirit pool. Lin Dong looked at the black pool and asked. Yes. Qing Ji smiled and nodded before continuing. This place will not only allow your cultivation to stabilize, but it also greatly beneficial to your green heaven materialized dragon skill. However, this death flame spirit pool only opens once a year. There is still some time before it opens this year, and this Mo Luo was unwilling to open it now. He says that the death flame spirit pool will end up losing a substantial amount of energy. It is not surprising that Qing Ji has asked me to open the death flame spirit pool for you to use. Mo Luo frowned a little. He glanced towards the red-faced Tang Xinlian by the side and said, even this lass of mine does not think for the flame divine hall. This is the reason that I am displeased. Lin Dong's cultivation is unstable because he helped us deal with that General Liang Mo. We have the responsibility to help him resolve this problem. Otherwise, if word of this spreads, we will dare to aid our flame divine hall in future. However, Tang Xinlian was clearly not so easily dealt with. Although her face had reddened a little, a sensible word still made Mo Luo speechless. Thank you, Elder Mo Luo, and Miss Xinlian. Lin Dong cupped his hands together and said. He was somewhat touched by their gestures. Mo Luo waved his hand and said, little fellow, I have to tell you this beforehand. Do you see those black flames inside? They are formed from extremely pure death chi. Later on, you will sit on the stone platform in the middle of the pool and I will activate the death flame spirit pool. This death chi will be drawn to the life chi in your body and charged towards you to cleanse your physical body. This cleansing will strengthen the death chi in your body, stabilizing your cultivation and strengthening your physical body. However, there is also a great amount of risk. The death chi here is far too pure. Death chi is an energy with great destructive power. If you are unable to endure it, it will cause your physical body to be damaged and undergo necrosis. When that happens, you will end up becoming a Yuan spirit. Lin Dong was slightly startled. This was a rather huge risk indeed. Since the founding of my Flame Divine Hall, there have been 8 profound death stage experts whose physical bodies were destroyed by this death flame spirit pool. Only 4 people have managed to endure 10 death chi cleansings. Sai, after all these years, there was only one person who was able to endure 49 cleansings. 49, who? Lin Dong could not help but ask. This death flame spirit pool could even destroy the body of a profound death stage expert. It clearly possessed an extremely terrifying destructive force. Enduring 49 cleansings within it was clearly an extremely difficult task. The person beside you. Qing Ji smilingly replied. Lin Dong turned his head in shock. After which, he saw Tang Xinlian's beautifully smiling face. This girl was really incredible. You should also begin. Mo Luo waved his hand and teased, little fellow, do not allow Xinlian to beat you. Otherwise, Qing Ji will really lose all face. Lin Dong was speechless as he looked at the gloating Mo Luo who seemed to be waiting to watch a good show. Soon after, he lifted his head and looked at the death flame spirit pool before him. The blood within his body seemed to boil slightly. In that case, allow me to see just how difficult it is to deal with. Lin Dong laughed heartily. He ceased hesitating and his toes pushed off the ground. His body landed onto a stone platform below the waterfall in front of the Mo Luo trio's eyes. This video will end here.